Good afternoon, children. In our last session, what we have done is the change of state. How can we change state of matter from solid to liquid and liquid to gas and vice versa? Change of state from solid to liquid and vice versa. That is, how can you change a solid into liquid and liquid into gas? So, this is one cycle, you can say, solid to liquid and liquid to gas and again gas to solid. And we can reverse this also, solid to gas, gas to liquid and liquid to solid. How can you change solid into liquid? That is by heating. If you heat or if you increase the temperature, then what happens? Solid changes into liquid. And this process is called as what? Fusion. This is called a fusion. And this fusion, it takes place at what? At a particular temperature. When you start heating a solid, does it happen that as soon as you start heating it starts melting? No. First it takes some temperature, it rises to some fixed temperature and then it starts melting, and this is called as fusion, and the temperature at which a substance starts melting at normal atmospheric pressure, that is called as melting point. Now you continue heating. Yesterday we have done one experiment. I showed you by one experiment that we have taken some ice and we have heated that ice. We have kept one thermometer in the ice and we have seen that till the all ice melted, the temperature of the thermometer remains constant. Till all the solid ice changed into liquid water, till that time the temperature was same. Why the temperature was same? Because the whole of the heat which you have supplied, it is utilized to overcome the forces in between the particles of solid. We know that in solid the particles are very close to each other, forces of attraction is very high. To overcome these forces of attraction, what happens? The heat which you are supplying, that is being used, and then this solid it changes into liquid, and that is the reason we do not see any rise in the temperature of the thermometer, and this heat which is utilized for changing the solid into liquid, that is melting or fusion, that is called as latent heat of fusion. Latent heat of fusion. Now this liquid, if I heat it more, then what will happen? It will change into water vapor. It will change into water vapor. And what is this water vapor? It is gas. And this process is called as what? It is called as vaporization. Vaporization. Again, the same experiment we did yesterday, that we had taken a liquid in a beaker and we have heated it. We have noted down the temperature of that liquid. Till all that liquid, that is water, it has changed into water vapor. Till that time the temperature in the thermometer remains same, that is constant. Where this heat has gone? It is utilized in changing of the state, that is liquid to gas. In liquid, the molecules are little, not you can say very far away, but little far away, and this is liquid. In case of gas, molecules are very far away. So, the heat which you are supplying, that is being used up in overcoming the forces of attraction in between the particles. When these forces they have overcome, then it changes into vapors, or you can say gaseous state. And this heat, it is called as latent heat of vaporization. Latent means hidden. Hidden means you cannot see the rise in the temperature, change in the temperature of the thermometer. And this heat is, there is no increase in the kinetic energy of the particles. Keep this thing in mind, your children. Always keep it in your mind that when the solid it changes into liquid, there is no change in the, there is no increase in the kinetic energy. Only the energy or heat energy which you are supplying, that is being utilized for changing of the state. In this case also, there is no increase in the kinetic energy of the particles, but whatever heat you are supplying, that is being used up for changing the state from liquid to gaseous. So, this is about heating or changing of solid into liquid and changing of liquid into gas. You can just do the reverse process also, that is, if you take some gas and if you cool it, if you reduce the temperature, then what happens? It changes into liquid, and this is called as what? Condensation. Condensation. Changing of gas into liquid, that is called as, by cooling, that is called as condensation. Now, this liquid, it can also be changed into solid. How? Again, here also you will have to cool, and here also you will have to cool, and it will change into solid, and this is called as freezing. Now, you can change a solid directly into gas, and directly gas you can change into solid, and this can be done by sublimation. All these things we have done yesterday, children. This is just a revision of whatever we have done yesterday. Now, boiling point. What is boiling point? All these terms must be clear to you, children. Your concepts must be clear. If your concepts are clear, then you can solve any of the problem and usually hardly you are asked directly the definitions of this and this and this. You are generally asked in your competitive exams, you are generally asked the practical problems or the practical things which we come across in our day-to-day life. And these are they are based on all these things. So, this should be clear to you, all the terms and theory. What is boiling point? Boiling point is the temperature at which a substance starts boiling. When you start heating any substance, does it happen that it starts boiling at the same moment? No. First it takes some heat, it takes more heat, it comes to a certain temperature, and then it starts boiling. So, the temperature at which a substance starts boiling, that temperature, it is called as boiling point. Of course, it should be at atmospheric pressure. Normal atmospheric pressure. This is the condition, that the pressure should be means we have to do this on the ground level, that will be boiling point. If you go to the height, then boiling point will be different. Why it will be different? Because atmospheric pressure will be different. And when a substance starts boiling, this also you must be it must also be clear to you, that when the vapor pressure of a substance becomes equal to atmospheric pressure. When a substance starts boiling, this is my question. A substance starts boiling when its vapor pressure becomes equal to atmospheric pressure. Atmospheric pressure, you know, pressure exerted by the atmosphere or pressure exerted by the air which is present in the atmosphere. Now, when you heat, then this substance, it starts means heating, it takes heat and it starts vaporizing. So, when the pressure of those vapors, it becomes equal to the atmospheric pressure, then a substance, it will start boiling, and the temperature at which it starts boiling, that is called as boiling point, right. Now, on heights or on mountains, what happens? The atmospheric pressure is low. Why the atmospheric pressure is low? Because air is less. Because air is less, and what is atmospheric pressure? Pressure exerted due to air. So, atmospheric pressure is low. And so, if you go on the height, then what happens? And if you try to cook anything over there, then what will happen? The boiling point of that substance, it will become low. Why? Because atmospheric pressure is low. And what is boiling, or what is the boiling point? That is the temperature at which a substance starts boiling. And what is this? When a substance starts boiling, it will start boiling when its vapor pressure will become equal to atmospheric pressure. On height, atmospheric pressure is low, so boiling point will low, and that substance will start boiling at lower temperature only, and the amount of heat which is required for cooking of that substance will not be sufficient, and so we usually find it difficult to cook on the height. So, this is about boiling point. Then what is melting point? Melting point is that temperature. Melting means changing of solid into liquid. Boiling means changing of liquid and afterwards it vaporizes, right. So, what is melting point? Melting point is that temperature at which a substance starts melting, and of course, condition will be same, that is atmospheric pressure. So, these all are the terms which you must know, children. Sublimation also we have done yesterday. Usually what happens? A substance starts, whenever you take any solid, first it changes into gas, and then first it changes into liquid, and then it changes into gas. But in sublimation, what happens? A solid directly changes into gas without changing into liquid. An example I gave you of ammonium chloride, naphthalene balls, camphor, that is kapoor, All these are the examples of sublimation, means these substances directly changes into gas without changing into liquid state. And what is the use of this sublimation? Practical application, I told you, purification. If you want to make balls of naphthalene, they must be purified, it must be pure. So, how can you purify? You can purify it by the process of sublimation. When you sublime it, all the impurities will be left in that crucible, and that naphthalene, it will get evaporated, or you can say it will change into gas, and finally you will get pure form of naphthalene, which you can use it for making the balls. So, this is about sublimation. So, this interconversion of states of matter. I have already explained you how does it takes place. Everything is clear to you now. Now, one more thing I have to tell you, children, that which substances will sublime. Do all substances sublime? No. Which substances will sublime? Those substances whose vapor pressure becomes equal to atmospheric pressure below their melting point. Those substances will sublime. Those substances whose vapor pressure becomes equal to atmospheric pressure below their melting point. Yes. So, all substances do not sublime, only those substances will sublime whose vapor pressure will become equal to atmospheric pressure below their melting point. This we have already we know that a substance starts boiling at what temperature? That is boiling point. And when the vapor pressure of a substance will become equal to atmospheric pressure, then it will start boiling. Here, below the melting point is reached, the vapor pressure of sublimate substances become equal to the atmospheric pressure. So, what happens? They start vaporizing without going into the liquid state. So, this is about the sublimation. Now, one more thing I have told you, that is solid carbon dioxide or it is also called as dry ice. It is used as a refrigerant. For cooling it is used, and therefore we use it, we say that it is used as a refrigerant. What is solid carbon dioxide? Carbon dioxide gas, this is in gaseous form. Now, if you want to change it into solid form, then what you will do? You will cool it and it will change it into solid carbon dioxide. Here you are lowering the temperature, or you can say you are decreasing temperature, Along with this, you will lower down pressure also. The pressure is also being lowered and temperature is also being lowered, and this this gaseous carbon dioxide, it changes into solid carbon dioxide. Now, one thing which I have to tell you children is critical temperature. Critical temperature. Try to understand here that if you are having gaseous carbon dioxide, if you want to change it into solid carbon dioxide, you will start cooling it. You will lower down the pressure also, and it will change into solid carbon dioxide. But here there is a certain particular temperature till which you will have to lower down the temperature of gaseous carbon dioxide, then only it will change into solid carbon dioxide. Even though you are reducing the pressure to any extent, but if that temperature is not reached, then this gaseous carbon dioxide, it will not change into solid carbon dioxide. And that particular temperature till where you have to cool down the gaseous carbon dioxide to get a solid carbon dioxide, that particular temperature, it is called as critical temperature. And the pressure which corresponds to that critical temperature, it is called as critical pressure. So, this is all about sublimation, children.